Hi, my name is Debbie, and I'm 39 now. My husband and I started trying to conceive approximately 4.5 years ago, and the overall synopsis of what we had been through was that we went ultimately through 7 in vitro fertilization cycles, and they didn't work. Where we started was with a local clinic who basically told us when we had our first visit, they basically told us that, oh, in 6 months we're going to have you pregnant. Well, 4 years and 6 months later, we still weren't. So we had gone with that clinic a couple of different times and just got very, very frustrated because the promises were there and the results were not. So we decided to go with another clinic who tried to get me to stimulate, and after one cycle of trying to get me to stimulate, which I didn't, they basically told me that my best chance was with a donor egg. So at that point I wasn't ready to go that route, so we went to get another clinic, and this doctor was very good. He actually tried to use higher doses of medications than anybody else would have tried. And after 2 cycles with him with very, very high levels of the medications, it also didn't work. So at that point, we decided to try the donor egg cycle. So we found the donor and everything seemed very promising, and she stimulated like she should have, and everything was looking very good. We did get pregnant with that cycle, but then we ultimately lost it 3 weeks later. So after much frustration and headache and heartache and money, we decided that was going to be enough. We weren't going to put ourselves through that anymore. So we decided to take a break, and at that point I started to get on the internet a little bit more and see what was available as far as alternative measures that we could take, because I knew that my body had been through more than it should have, and it was time to get me healthy again. So in my quest for information, I did come across information for the honeymoon method, and I decided to give it a chance. So I met with Dr. Seidman, who is very kind and knowledgeable and very compassionate and understanding. And after meeting with him, we decided to go ahead and give it a try. And I think it's one of the best decisions that we made in the process, because it did help me to get my health back, and it did help me to feel more relaxed. And it did help me to feel that the possibility was actually there, that if I did get myself healthy, that it was a possibility to turn back the hands of time and to undo the damage that was done via all of the IVF meds that we had taken. And ultimately it's proven to be very, very instrumental in my being able to now say that we are 18 weeks pregnant. And without the honeymoon method and without the help of Dr. Seidman and his wife Tally, possibly we may not be at this juncture, but we're very, very happy to say that with the help of the method, that we are now 18 weeks pregnant, and just very, very happy and very, very overjoyed to be living our dream at this point, because as we all know, this is many of what we hope for, many of our dreams. And if you're going through the IVF methods now, and it's not working for you, please take a step back and think about what you can do naturally to help yourself and to help ultimately, hopefully, your baby. Do what's right, instead of going with the mentality of wanting everything yesterday and being in a hurry. Just try to take a step back and really look at what the honeymoon method can offer you. I think it's important to realize that we have within ourselves the means to get pregnant. I know that with my experience with the IVF cycles, time and time and time again, I heard, you have old eggs, you have old eggs, you have old eggs. And I'm here to tell you now that that's not necessarily the case. There are ways to reverse the aging process. There are ways to help that process naturally, as opposed to forcing it and just forcing it with medication after medication after medication. I had been there where I heard the old egg story. I had been there where I've heard the donor story, but that's not necessarily the case. You can have this happen without having to go through all of that, or go through all of that anymore, and save yourself a lot of grief and a lot of heartache, and save yourself the worry of thinking later on, oh, how many more meds could I have possibly put in my system, and what could the long-term ramifications be? You don't have to go through that anymore. You don't have to go through the heartache and the pain and hearing that. You can turn to this method, and it can work for you. And if you have faith in it, and if you believe it, and you follow the method, it'll certainly help you to ultimately reach your goal. So you don't necessarily have to believe it when you hear that you have old eggs, because there are ways to make that untrue. So I'm hoping that you'll take the time to really consider the Hinduan method, and I hope that you realize your dream too.